All right, now let's get to some New York issues here, getting debate here, and trust me, we've talked about them, but they'll be even more front and center next year. First up, fracking. Still waiting to hear from the Cuomo administration on its decision whether or not to allow it and where. Businesses, energy companies, and a whole lot of Republicans, it seems, want in. And on the other side, environmental groups, and for the most part, not universally, but for the most part, Democrats say not so fast. How much of an issue, someone, do you think this is going to be next year? Because the governor seems to want this thing both ways. One time, sometimes it seems like he's for it, sometimes he seems he doesn't, and he'll just keep punting it down the line. People want answers. We hear from a lot of the energy companies who say, decide one way or the other. We have to know where we are. What do you think happens?
I think he will continue to punt, as you said. I think it's unlikely there's enough support in the legislature, at least not in the assembly, to support it. And I think he's going to have trouble. We've passed several bills just in the assembly alone that restrict the ability of hydrofracking to go forward, call for a moratorium. I think he's going to have trouble, and I think he'll continue to look at the research. I think they need to continue to look at the research.
What about the argument to make it a local decision so that municipalities can do it on their own?
Well, we have tried to say that municipalities should be free to ban it, and in fact, the court has upheld that kind of rule by some in their local zoning.
But to allow it for a county or a municipality to allow it?
To ban it by a local municipality. I think it's unlikely that it will be allowed in New York State at all.
What do you think?
It's crazy. I think we're missing the boat on it, and he has played both sides. And what's happened is Pennsylvania and Ohio are benefiting tremendously from our indecision.
But are they?
Well, people
forget about the science,
really
good or
suffering.
bad. But how much money is there really in it?
There's a ton of jobs in it. It's been a huge boom to these communities. And if you look at upstate New York, they are suffering. They're shuttering. Businesses are shuttering. People are leaving. They could really benefit from something like this.
Well,
Obama said it's safe. Obama said it's safe. The EPA.
Now you're quoting Obama. I know you're reaching it. So let me flip it.
Crazy.
The next one is casinos. Okay.
No, can I just go back?
Yes.
Because I went on a tour in Pennsylvania, and I think there's a safety issue, but there's another quality of life issue, and it's the one that doesn't get any attention. The trucks carrying water. They have completely decimated rural communities, all of these rural communities, and turned them into transport zones. And that was my experience. I was shocked by my response there.
We went up to Dimmock up in Pennsylvania and found it's a mixed bag. For some, it's a paycheck and it's a check, for the property that they wouldn't get somewhere else, and they think of it as a lifeline. Others who want to be there say, what the heck happened to my community?
Well, they should have regulations.
I just think it's fair. Let's be fair. The governor needs to decide one way or the other. He can't push it down.
Would you want it in your backyard? Would you want it in your parents' backyard? A fracking well right down the street?
Yeah, I would not be opposed to it. Yes, these people are desperate for jobs. They are suffering up there, and they want it. And let them, if they want to ban it locally, let them ban it. But to just leave it sitting out there while New York is not benefiting
but I saw the
from
video
it is
that
crazy.
you showed of the man that lit his water and his tap water, and it went up in flames. I mean, so what's in that water? I mean,
it's been disputed.
Of course, by people who stand to make a great
There
deal
we
of
go.
money.
Look at that. Great job, guys. Right on cue.
Now, you see, Richard, that's why women are great in politics. What Jessica just did. She just told me to shut up in a nice way.
Well, I'm telling you to shut up in a nice way so I can get to the next subject, casinos, okay? In November, the referendum issue, remember, voters okayed up to 7 new Vegas-style casinos across the state, likely upstate, nearest to our region for now, probably will be the Catskills. Now, we have racinos in our region, as the Assemblywoman knows very well, in Yonkers, but casinos, 24-hour gambling, hotels, bigger shows, attractions, they draw more people, or perhaps a lot more people. I start with you as saying, if they turn Yonkers Raceway into a full-blown casino,
Love it.
You would.
Love it, fought for it, very disappointed we didn't get it in the first round, but 7 years from now, I hope we're #1 in line to get it. Absolutely, in my backyard, not my backyard, literally in my city. Talk about jobs. Yonkers Raceway is the #1 private employer in Yonkers. If we could have a casino and everything that goes with it, economic development, well maintained and well run, which I agree is a part of it, and revenue that we're losing to other states, I'm all for it.
I'm gonna, the downside to it. the addictions that go along with it, the other vices that attach from the prostitution to the drug. But what about the people literally cashing the welfare check? It's always the people who lose the most that have the least to lose. You know how that goes. I mean, you could argue it's still happening now, but wouldn't it be happening on steroids if it was a full-blown casino, not just a racino?
I think there is some of it, and it goes with the territory. As with all things that are dangerous, there are people who fall victim for it. I've been in Yonkers Raceway at all hours of the day and night. There are people, not in welfare, it's more people with their Social Security who come and spend, instead of spending $20, they spend $200, and that's a mistake. And those people, we need to do everything we can to minimize it. But beyond that, you know, we're adults. We're adults here. We allow smoking, we allow drinking.
When's the last time you were in Atlantic City?
I haven't been there in a few years.
It is two separate towns, really, in the same town. And this is coming from a guy who enjoys going. But there's the casinos, and then there's everywhere
But it
else.
was always
that was
two separate
always-
towns.
No, I know,
It was
but
always that way.
It's always a rough,
there is a danger that could happen to a place like
Well,
that.
I don't see it.
listen, for me, we've had this debate, and we're on the same page on this one. Andrew, Dominic, and I, if you've been up to, and I have, to certain parts of the state of New York where they're talking about it, versus what? You know?
I know.
I mean,
Jobs,
I'm sorry.
jobs.
You talk about shuttering jobs, it's shuttered now.
Yes.
Everybody's leaving if they have any chance to get out of Dodge. It's going to happen. When do you think, guys, we know where the 7 locations are?
They said they're going to start the bidding process in the spring, and they hope to announce the results, I think, in 2014.
Just a math question. If
gonna
the
take a
governor's
while,
promising to
but-
cut taxes next year, that's a whole other political issue. Is he counting on revenue? Because they'd have to get these casinos built. There's no way they get it done
It's
by
not gonna
next
be
year.
done in time. No.
But is
It's
he
gonna take
is he
years
hedging
for
any of
this
his
to
bets on
actually see
prospective revenue from these
fruition.
things, or
I
no?
don't
Not in the
think
short
so.
run.
Okay.
I got to put fracking sites next to each of the casinos.
There you go.
Thank
Get
you.
some little fracking water. You can place your bets,
You got
and we're all
more
good.
ways than
You
one.
get your check from the fracking, you go over there?
All right. We go from New York to D.C. when we come back, and there's some pretty serious conversations that are going to be happening at the highest court, and it has to do with contraceptive coverage, Hobby Lobby, I love to say that, and also DREAM Act versus Christie in 2016. We're going to get into those issues and more after this.